What's going on, YouTube? Right here, Rep again with another video. Now, last week, obviously, with the addition of Season 2 to Modern Warfare, they actually added a Call of Duty League playlist finally, so we actually have some sort of competitiveness to play. I mean, obviously, it's not ranked play, but we'll get into that some other time. I kind of wanted to help out some of the newer players who may be trying to just dip their toes into the competitive playlist just a little bit for the first time and help them with some class setups that I think are the best classes to use in competitive. These are what the pros use. Play like the pros, and maybe, just try to win some games here. Obviously, I'm going to show you something real quick. You can actually filter the game mode, so you don't have to play all three if you don't want. We play in competitive hardpoint, search and destroy, and domination only. But that's that. So we're going to get into the weapons here, show you my classes. First one, obviously, is the MP5. Is the best gun in the game, best submachine gun in the game, arguably the best gun in the game. We'll get into it now with the attachments. Obviously, I use the Merc foregrip. It gives you recoil control and hipfire accuracy. It's like steady aim, essentially, and it gives you a little bit of recoil control, which is good. You do lose some ADS speed as well as aim walking movement speed, but that's not really a big concern with this type of gun and with how you use it when you're just like sprinting around, side canceling around, whatnot. And plus, the ADS speed will get canceled out pretty shortly. I'll show you in a second. Next up is the ammunition 10mm mag. It gives you plus damage, plus range. Very good attachment. What it does is essentially it extends your 4-shot kill range out slightly, and it actually turns your 6-shot kill into a 5-shot kill. Because for some reason, without this attachment, it goes 3, 4, 6. This gives you 3, 4, 5. So it gets rid of the 6, makes it a 5, which is really good because that one less bullet at range does matter in competitive, or period, actually. Next up is the stipple grip tape. Very solid attachment. It gives you, again, plus ADS speed. So you're actually canceling out now the one you're losing from the Merc foregrip and sprint to fire speed. You're losing aiming stability, which with MP5 or any submachine gun for that matter, you don't really need it because the way you use this gun, obviously you're running around, like I said, you're rushing a lot. Aiming stability is more for slower players who like to sit in windows, AR players kind of, and because it's like it's your idle sway, like your gun sways left and right when you're aiming down sight for too long, and honestly you're not doing that with this gun, so losing aiming stability is not a big deal. Again, you're getting aim down sight speed, which is solid. You're getting sprint to fire speed again, so your gun raises up quicker when you're running around and it gets up quicker. Awesome. Next up is the sleight hand perk. I think that this is a very solid choice. A lot of people obviously are starting to see it recently, like when the competitive started to play out. What I've been using sleight of hand like since the game came out, honestly. This gun's problem is that it is really slow on the reload speed, and there are certain times where you'll just die because it just takes too long. It's like a 1.7, almost 1.8 second reload time without it. With it, it's like it goes all the way down to like 1.1, almost a full just regular second. And so it's a really good perk to use. Next up is your F-Tech collapsible stock. It gives you 4% movement speed. I know it doesn't say it, but if you watch Exclusive Aces video or Drifters video, they'll tell you, which is really good. So now you're actually above 100% movement speed, which is really good, and you're getting more ADS speed. Again, you're losing aiming stability, which doesn't matter. You're losing recoil control on this attachment, but you actually gain it back with the Merc foregrip, so all cancel each other out. So again, this is to me is the best class setup. Highly recommend this gun. Next up, for the secondary, we're using a knife because in respawn, it's really important off the break to use the knife with double time to get to your spot quicker than everyone else. I know I said the MP5 is technically faster in terms of movement speed, but with the knife with double time, you actually get more sprint time, if that makes any sense. Like, you're technically moving faster, but you'll stop the sprint, the tactical sprint part, quicker with the MP5 out compared to the knife. You actually get a little bit extra running, so that's kind of good. I use perks, point double time, like I said, point man because everything else is banned. Ghost isn't banned, but I feel like Point Man's just better for competitive because, like, with Ghost, you're just having straight up kill streaks, so everything will just be like kills only. Whereas Point Man, you get score for kills, score for assists, score for objective play, obviously. So I just feel like Point Man's just needed over Ghost. Plus, everything that Ghost counters is banned anyway, so it doesn't matter. So it's a useless perk. And Battle Hard is my third perk because, again, this is for respawn. I don't want to get stunned. I want to get flashed. Really annoying type stuff. In competitive, we use specialists over regular kill streaks because most of the kill streaks are banned. We'll get into that at the end of the video, though. I use EOD, tune-up, and scavenger because, again, nothing else really much to use. Maybe use amped instead of scavenger if you don't want, but that's whatever. I use a Semtex as my lethal and tactical as a stun grenade. Now, my next two classes are identical to what I just talked about, except for one change. The next change is the smoke grenade instead of a stun grenade, because sometimes I feel like you need the smoke to help set up a play, to help, smoke across so you can get across. And honestly, I pulled this class out when I seen that no one else is pulling out smoke. So next up is the same thing. Like I said, I use EOD instead of double time as my first perk. This class is strictly for Hackney Yard hardpoint because it's a smaller map, a lot of indoor action. You're gonna get naded a lot. EOD helps with that, so that's just my preference. I use the smoke on this one. The next two classes are my search and destroy classes. Very similar again, no changes to the gun. I use a M19 secondary. It does have 100% movement speed like the knife, which is good, but I don't have that extra sprint with the double time, which is fine. I use a compensator, the XRKV extended. I use lightweight trigger, stipple grip, and sleight of hand. I highly recommend not to use anything that minuses your movement speed because now you're losing the whole reason to use this gun in the first place. So don't use that one. The super one, don't use that. That's just bad. And plus, like I said, in search, why I use it over a knife is because there are certain situations that you get into that you don't have enough time to get that reload off. Even though I'm using sleight of hand on the MP5, there are certain instances where that happens where it's just better to switch your pistol and start firing. Again, same perk setup. I use Tune Up as my main perk and then switch Battle Hard into my specialist because Tune Up helps give your death silence faster, so you can pretty much get it like every round guaranteed, or even 2 times honestly if you use it off the break or something. So it's a really good perk to have. I use a frag grenade in search because I do know some cheeky nade spots, so I use the frag instead of Semtex, and I use stun grenade. The next class is the same exact thing except for I use a smoke because sometimes you want to smoke rush the mid and just YOLO stuff. The next 4 classes are my AR classes. Obviously, we're using the M4 because it is the best gun in the game, the best AR in the game. Right now, this is my setup for it. Shout out to Wuskins, by the way, for the muzzle brake idea. I know like a lot of players have been using compensator. Compensators are actually really good too, but I've been using muzzle brake lately because muzzle brake with commando foregrip, it gives you a lot of recoil stabilization to where your gun doesn't bounce a lot like left to right, so it's pretty much like a laser beam. It just goes straight up. I use the stock M16 Grenadier barrel because again, it gives you damage range. Bullet velocity means your bullets are hitting targets faster, kind of like hit scan almost from previous CODs. And of course, it gives you the recoil control I was talking about. So now you're getting the best of both worlds because recoil control is your vertical, recoil stabilization for muzzle brake and for commando foregrip is your left and right. So now you're like a laser. You do lose some movement speed on this, but you'll get some back with the no stock attachment, which gives you again kind of like the collapsible stock, 4% movement speed, 2 frames of ADS. You lose recoil control, you lose stability, but guess what? You gain stability back right here, and you gain recoil control right there, so it all cancels each other out. And then last but not least, I use the strippable grip tape because, as I said before, ADS speed's good, sprint to fire speed's good. If you don't feel comfortable using iron sights, which I know a lot of people probably do, I would get rid of the muzzle brake and add on a like Cronin or GI Mini Reflex. Those are the only two that are worth using. All the other ones suck. Don't use those other ones. But if that's up to you though. That's all preference. So again, using knife, same perk setup, same loadout, nothing different. Next class is the same thing I just said, except for I am using a sight on this one. This is more for a slower play style if we need to use it. I'm not normally that type of player, but I have it just in case. They gave you 10 classes. You just might as well have it just in case. I use EOD as my first perk, so I don't get like needed off of a head glitch or something. I use a Semtex. I use a smoker on this one. My next 2 classes are search and destroy. Same thing, no difference. Like I said, the pistols. I use EODs off the rip. I use tune-up. I use frags instead of Semtexes. There's no difference right there. Again, the same pistol stuff. Last but not least, I have a sniper class, the Big Daddy HDR. I do like this one better than the AX50. I'll get into another video about that, explaining why. I use the HDR Pro barrel. I use the bipod because there's nothing really else to use. The other 4 are necessities, I feel like. But bipod I just threw on because there was nothing else to use. I use the variable zoom scope. I use the FTAC Champion because it gives you a lot of aiming stability. Like it makes you like super like not bouncy at all. If you want to use the Stalker Scout because it gives you ADS speed, that's on you. That's preference. And last but not least, this is a necessity in my opinion, is the focus perk. You get flinch resistance, so you don't get, when you're getting shot, you can still maybe get your shot off while you're getting shot. So I use a deagle on this class. It's very similar to what in terms of like the attachments, lightweight trigger, stipple grip. I use a red dot sight. I use this barrel, and I use a 13 extended mags just because I don't know, just throw on just whatever. It doesn't matter at the speed on this in this case. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna wrap this video up right there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I did actually forget one thing. I'm so sorry. I use field upgrades. I use dead silence or trophy. Those are the only two that matter. Everything else is banned or useless. Stick with those two, obviously. I play dead silence a lot, so that's just what I use. If for some reason you want to use kill streaks, again, it's technically legal to use them, but most of them are banned. Cluster strike, VTOL, jet, and chopper gunner should be your choices for this playlist because again, it is technically allowed. It's just agreed upon by the pros not to not use them. They just use specialists instead. So if you want to do that, so like to take off the specialist and throw it on whatever, that's on you guys though. I don't use it though. But that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully it helps you guys out. Again, this is for more newer players who are probably trying to, again, try out the playlist for once. But that hopefully I help you guys out. Maybe you guys get some W's. But again, appreciate love and support. Catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.